Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Estrella virtual visit series. I'm Allison Campbell with Estrella Consulting, and I'm so excited to welcome Mikaela Olmsted from High Point University in High Point, North Carolina. Our virtual visit series is designed to introduce you to a variety of colleges and allow you to get to know the institutions and their staff in a more personal way. So thank you, Mikaela, for joining us. If you don't mind just taking a quick moment to tell us a bit about yourself, how long you've worked at High Point, that would be great.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. Again, I'm Mikaela Olmsted. I have been working in admissions with High Point a little over 3 years, going into my fourth year. Before that, I was actually a High Point student. So I did my undergrad and my master's here at High Point. So definitely someone who bleeds purple and loved the opportunities that High Point provided me and decided to stick around. But I currently work with families all throughout Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Western Pennsylvania.
That's great. Thank you so much. So definitely your passion for High Point is very evident. If you're getting your undergrad, your master's there, and you're sticking around to be an employee, obviously that's a really easy way to recruit students to come to High Point if you're that passionate about it. So if you, for those of you that might not have any idea about High Point, can you tell us a little bit about your institution? Maybe I know we mentioned you're located in North Carolina, and then also just kind of the enrollment, the type of institution, and maybe any need to know or distinctive points of pride would be helpful.
Yeah. So High Point is located in central North Carolina. We are essentially smack dab in the middle of the state. And so we are 3 hours from the mountains, 3 hours from the beach, which is always really nice in case you want to take a nice beach spring break. And we have about 5,000 undergraduate students, 1,000 graduate students. This fall, we actually started our brand new School of Dentistry and School of Law. So we are seeing a little bit of an increase on the graduate side with student enrollment. We have average class sizes of about 20 to 25 students. Sometimes that does get a little bit smaller once you get into your major specific classes. We have over 60 majors and 60 minors. So the opportunities are really endless at High Point. A good majority of our students will either double major or major in minor in several different subjects. There's a lot to do, over 200 plus clubs and organizations. So an active student life is very prevalent on campus. It's easy to get involved. We don't want students to just sit in their dorm room and just be inside. We want them to enjoy the nice North Carolina warm weather.
Yes, I love the size. I feel like that's just a perfect medium size. I mean, you'll never know everybody that's on campus, but the, like you had mentioned, the 20 to 25 people per class, I'm sure, small student faculty ratio. And you just had mentioned, as you wrapped that last point up, just about the opportunities to do things. And my colleague Jamie and I, we visited High Point over the summer unofficially. Jamie was there for the counselor visit, I believe in February of
Mhm.
2024, and we did kind of like a tour to North Carolina, and she's like, we have to stop at High Point, like you have to check this out. And honestly, it was one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen. And like you said, taking advantage of that North Carolina weather, just the amenities at High Point, which I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit, but the basketball courts, the swimming pools, the volleyball courts. I mean, it's just really set up for student engagement. I mean, if you're sitting in your room at High Point, there's definitely something wrong. So, can you speak to maybe what type of student you guys are looking to recruit to High Point?
Yeah. So High Point is really focused on the students who want to be here. So we do have a bit of a selective admissions process, but if we see that students are interested and want to take advantage of the opportunities that we have on campus, whether it be through student activities or through career and professional development, we want to make sure that they have that opportunity. Most students are typically goal setters. They are go-getters. They have what we call an entrepreneurial mindset. So they do set those short-term and long-term goals. They're not afraid to either go out of their comfort zone or learn to go out of their comfort zone, and really just want to have those connections with their fellow classmates, but also with their faculty members. With the small class sizes, the relationship with faculty does really help. Your faculty member will know your name, they'll know that you're not in class, but they'll reach out and say, hey, is everything okay? They just want to make sure that your well-being is put first. But if you want to come to High Point, then you can definitely work with me and we can always talk opportunities and kind of the value of what you will get out of High Point specifically.
We have a number of students at Estrella that are looking at High Point, and as we're kind of working through the application process, one of the things you had mentioned is like we're looking for students that want to be here, and High Point has some specific questions on their application, and it's very much geared towards like the go-getter mentality. Like, what types of things are you interested in participating in at High Point? Like, what type of things inspire you? Are you passionate about? So I think, that really translates, like that's the type of student you're looking for, and you're using that as a way to, again, find the right type of student for your university. So thanks for just just saying that again to make sure that that is a point of pride when you're looking for students that would attend High Point. You mentioned that you just opened a college of dentistry, and I believe you said, was it law?
Yes.
Okay. What would you say are the majors that are the most popular right now at High Point? Like, are you seeing one that's, really taken off in the last year or two, or maybe like the major that maybe you're best known for?
Yeah. So with High Point, we're really well known for our School of Business. We have several different pathways within business. Students who are kind of unsure about what specific pathway they want can definitely go the business administration route, but we do have concentrations in accounting, finance, sales. We have a major in entrepreneurship. We even have minors in things like nonprofit. So if someone is wanting to major in entrepreneurship and minor in nonprofit studies, that they can definitely do that. Communications has been really high on the list with most popular majors, especially with sport management, sport media, and also game design. Game design is kind of a major not a lot of people tend to know that we have, but we are ranked top 50 in the nation for our game design major. Really cool opportunities with study abroad through that major. STEM has been on the rise. I think after the effects of COVID, there's been a lot of passion with going into healthcare, going into med school, but that will also kind of transfer into dentistry with our pre-dentistry track. And then this past year, we saw an increase of majors in English, history, political science, criminal justice, more of the social science side of things that will then transfer into law school.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you started saying that some of those social sciences, I'm like, oh, interesting, because I feel like that has kind of been like on the steady decline with the STEM and like math and science majors starting to kind of ramp up. But that makes sense with you opening a law school and really putting emphasis on that. I can see why that would be happening. I want to kind of talk real quick about the Life Skills University. So if you have visited High Point, if you go onto their website, they talk about being the premier life skills university. And to, the common folk or someone who's just perusing your website, they might not know what that means. And I think this is something that, I want you to, if you don't mind, just explain what a life skills university is and just how that really differentiates you. Because now that I understand it, I'm like, this is like the stuff that people really need to know in order to be successful.
Yeah. So I will say with the life skills, of course, there are those typical life skills that every student receives when they go to college away from home. Of course, you're going to learn how to do your laundry and how to clean up after yourself, but that is not what the premier life skills focuses on. With that, we do focus on those kind of soft and hard skills that employers are looking for in college graduates. We have actually done our own study on what those employers want. So we do have really great partnerships with companies all across the world. And so we ask them, what are you looking for in someone that you're hiring? And so based off of those results, we have kind of designed almost like a curriculum in life skills. It's not preset classes. These are all of the things that will translate into your everyday classes where it's almost like you don't know that you're learning it until you actually utilize it. So we focus on basic things like how to leave a voicemail for someone, how to compose a proper email, how to just communicate with anyone and everyone, but then also how to communicate with upper leadership. And when you work for a company, how can you address the CEO and really help yourself stand out without essentially seeming like you're trying to get in the way and move up too quickly. But we also go over things like emotional intelligence, how to work with someone that you may not get along with, how to collaborate as a group, and really focus on the application of the skills and not just kind of knowing what they are, knowing the job. We want you to step into the job and really be able to excel, and find your own passions and your own definition of success.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on practice and like you said, really implementing those skills that students are learning. When we did our, kind of impromptu visit over the summer, we ran into a staff on one of your athletic staff members who was lovely. And she saw us kind of walking around aimlessly and offered to take us on a tour. And it was great. And she was just emphasizing, shaking someone's hand, looking them in the eye, um, how to behave in an interview. And we were talking about another thing that I'd love to talk to you more about is just the amenities at High Point, but we were talking about the steakhouse on campus. And you're thinking like, why would there be a steakhouse on campus? And she's like, the ability to practice the formalities of a business dinner, how to work from the outside in when you're at a fine dining restaurant, how to read or order off of a menu. I mean, those types of things, again, we don't think of until maybe you're in that situation and you're sweating bullets because you've never been prepped on that. So it is really comprehensive. And like you said, life skills are the hard skills, the soft skills, the social skills, the putting into practice of things that you're learning in the classroom. And again, it was just so incredibly impressive to take that very just realistic approach to what you're learning and putting it, making yourself employable right off the bat. So it's really cool. Again, the campus is beautiful. There's just so many like unique things about the campus. Can you speak a little bit about kind of the amenities? And like she had said, even that they make it so that you don't ever have to leave campus if you didn't want to. Like everything that you would need is right there at High Point. So can you talk a little bit about what's at High Point?
Yeah. So I always start with food because food is probably the most important thing on a college campus. We have recently added a new dorm and student center to campus called Panther Commons. So if you would like to see pictures, it is available on our website. And so that's available for upperclassmen and graduate students, but does serve as a student center, for all students. And so within that, we were able to add a few additional dining options, and now we are around 20 dining options on campus, and they're all included in the meal plan. We even have 2 on-campus convenience stores. So if you run out of toothpaste or need an additional toothbrush, toilet paper, anything like that, you can always go there, grab some. Um, with Within the dining locations, we do have the 5-star dining options. And so there's actually 3 on our campus now. We have Prime, our steakhouse. We have Aloe, our Mediterranean restaurant. And then we have Kazoku, which is our Japanese steakhouse. That's also located in Panther Commons. And so with those, they do serve as learning labs. So students do get to really understand the fine dining aspect of being in business. We realize that most big decisions within business, no matter what industry, they typically happen over a meal. So we want students to, again, learn how to read off of a menu, how to eat properly, but they are cell phone free zones, which is really cool. So it forces students, in this day, to actually communicate with one another.
I
They're all
love that. I wish they had more cell phone free zones just in general. That would be great.
Yes. So food is very popular on our campus. We, of course, have a Chick-fil-A. We're currently transitioning it to a full restaurant that will also serve breakfast. So I know that's been really popular with students, but a good mixture of dining options that are buffet, are kind of those grab and go fast food that you may just want on a rainy, cold day. But then we have healthier options that help with dietary restrictions, allergens, anything like that. Um, with amenities, we also have our outdoor pools. We also have an indoor pool, and they're open to students throughout different residential communities. So you're never going to go to one pool and it be too full that you can't get in. You can always just go to the next one. But if you're someone who likes swimming, or even diving, we also have a diving certification class that we do in our indoor pool. So that's always really cool to see students doing that. We also have a lot of academic amenities, I would say. So we have our student success coaches that kind of serve as that in between a high school counselor and a faculty advisor in your major. They help with the transition into college. They really help students figure out, is this really what I want to major in? Am I planning my classes appropriately to have that guaranteed 4-year graduation? And then we also have career and professional development. And with career and professional development, they do help with reviewing resumes, cover letters, even LinkedIn profiles. We have a LinkedIn photo shoot day every semester so students can get free headshots. So you don't have to use prom pictures as your LinkedIn profile.
Good
And
idea.
so, yeah. And with that, we do have career advisors that will actually meet with students one-on-one, help them figure out what pathways and options do I have? How can I be successful in achieving those? And then they can help with interview tips, recording interviews, asking the tough questions, and really just kind of propelling students forward, no matter what industry they're going into, any major, especially in business. That's a big focus, but we try to incorporate that business type element into every class. And it does help really lead into our 99%. So we do have a 99% placement with students within 6 months after graduation. They're either in their top graduate program or in their career.
That's incredible. I'm ready. I'm taking notes as you're doing this. I like to share. And again, if I need to refer back to this or share with our staff something in particular, that is impressive. Like I said, at Estrella, we have a number of students that are applying to High Point, and it's at the top of their list. And when we were visiting in the summer, we noticed that there were parking spots that had ED on them. And I know that, at many colleges, there are a variety of ways and timelines for students to apply, but you have a very specific early decision program at High Point. Can you speak to what that entails?
Yeah. So with applying early decision, of course, with the binding commitment that upon acceptance, you are 100% ready to attend High Point, we do have a few different benefits that come along with it. And so a lot of those typically start once you move in for the fall semester. There are some that start a little before. And so with students that apply early decision, they do get their decisions before Thanksgiving. So right around November 20th to the 22nd. And then they're pretty much set. So you get to remove the stress of, oh gosh, where am I going? What college is right for me? But then in December, they have early access to a student success coach to go ahead and start getting those classes planned. They get priority registration with classes, so they can get in those top classes. They don't necessarily have to have a 750 every day if they don't want. And then they also get priority registration for housing. And so we do prioritize all early decision students for that. Students do also get to move in a day early, so they move in on a Friday and then have the entire weekend to really get everything set. And then with the parking spots, we do have early decision parking zones. And so each student is assigned a zone, and with those zones, we do try to place students in really close proximity to the dorm that they're living in.
Do you find that most students have a car, or is it pretty optional?
It really depends. With about 80% of our students coming from out of state, there is a high percentage of them that do bring their cars. Parking is free. There's no additional fee for having a car on campus all 4 years, and freshmen can bring their car. So it's up to them. If a student doesn't bring their car, we have a free shuttle service that can take them around to really anything that's campus property, but they can also set up rides to the airport if needed. If they need to go to the grocery store, go to a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment, they can get a ride through our campus transportation, and it's complimentary, so they don't have to worry about trying to get like an Uber or a taxi or anything like that. Um, I will say most students probably do bring a car. We've noticed there used to be a parking shortage on our campus, but we did solve that with a new parking deck on campus to allow the excess amount of cars to be able to park and have the availability to walk around campus, but campus itself is mostly walkable. Um, I will mention that my time at High Point, I did not have a car until my junior year, and I was fine. I loved it. I just took the shuttle. It runs every 20 minutes. So
Okay. That's awesome. Thanks for explaining that a little bit in depth. So definitely if you're considering, if you know that High Point is the place for you and you have the option to apply ED1, there are some very notable perks that go along with that. So something worth considering. So as far as really every applicant, so whether they're ED or if, they're applying regular decision, whatnot, when they are applying, is everybody considered for whatever merit scholarship that you offer at the time of application, or are there additional scholarship applications or additional steps for students to receive scholarships?
So we do consider students for merit-based scholarships at the time of their application. So it's automatically considered. We do have different ranges and proud to say that every student, 100% of our students do receive some type of aid when they come to High Point. It's a really, really big range. So I would love to connect with students one-on-one to talk about possibilities with scholarships. We do provide an initial scholarship amount in the decision letter. So it's at least the minimum amount. This is at least what I have. And then we offer scholarship events typically in the January, February timeline of a student's senior year. And as long as they attend one of those scholarship events in person on campus, they get a guaranteed increase in that scholarship. And so that increase is determined based off a formal interview that they do with a faculty member and current student within their selected major.
Are those January and February scholarship opportunities, like you mentioned on campus, are those just afforded to a certain group, like very high achievers, or like you said, particular majors, or is that something that everybody is welcome to come back and interview for as long as they're available to get a slot?
For the most part, everyone is offered that opportunity to come back and get that guaranteed increase.
And is that for students that are already that are still considering whether or not like High Point is an option, or those are students that have like decided on it and they just want some additional money, or both?
It's for both. We have seen a higher increase in students who have not yet committed and are still making that decision. It's also a good time if maybe if they came for a tour the summer in between junior and senior year, it's a good time to see campus again. Or if it was during a break, they can actually see students on campus and see the liveliness of campus. But also, I always say it's great to see North Carolina weather in the winter. We don't get a lot of snow, but it can really depend on the year. So it's for everyone. A lot of the times that is kind of the make or break event that will help a lot of students make their final decision.
I'm sure that the yield from something like that is just so incredibly high. Like the beauty of the campus, again, if and the great Southern migration, as like I said, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and the number of students that are looking to go south because they're really over the long, harsh winters in Northeast Ohio or wherever, in the Northeast or Midwest. I totally understand that. So I'm sure just having that opportunity to get those students back on campus and have another touch point and really make a connection, like you said, see students on campus, maybe go to the Kubain Center and see a basketball game because that facility is incredible. I'm sure, again, that's just like a very high yield event and gets students really excited about seeing themselves at High Point.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up with one last question. What would you say is one fun fact about your university that makes you special or unique?
Yeah. So I would have to say the connections that we have. So we have a great program of really kind of I don't want to say high up individuals, but well-known individuals. And
Mhm.
so this program is actually called our Innovator in Residence program. And so this includes people like Steve Wozniak, Mark Randolph, St. Marshall, who's the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks in Texas, and then also Byron Pitts. And so I think there's close to 35 innovators within this program, and they do take turns kind of coming to campus. They try to come as much as they can, but they do provide additional opportunities for our students, and they meet with students. Sometimes they host presentations with students, so they actually get those connections. St. Marshall specifically has a program with sport management where she takes 3 to 5 students to Dallas, Texas with her, and they get to run a game and shadow her. So it's really cool to really understand the industry and what she does and if that's what they want to do. And then I have a really cool story with Byron Pitts where one of my friends was connected with Byron Pitts, and Byron Pitts helped him land his job. He's a big time reporter in DC with a top news station. And so that was his dream. And he made the connections. He made one handshake, made eye contact, and said, "I want you to help me." And so it really worked out for him. So
Yes, that board, I saw it in the Cubain Center when we took our tour. I mean, I just could not believe some of the names on there. And, Katie, the basketball staff member, she's like, yeah, they come to campus, they meet with students. I mean, just to have the access to those types of people. And like you said, just in those like elevated business positions and the roles that they play is insane. I mean, what a selling point to your students and your potential families, obviously. So thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us. Again, we have so many students that are considering High Point, and we would be more than happy to direct them to you if they need any information or if they want to visit campus. So again, thank you so much, Mikaela, for joining us and for all of your work in the field. We really appreciate it.
yeah, of course. And I look forward to working with you guys with Estrella, but also connecting with any students that you have.
Well, thanks so much. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, and it was great connecting with you. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.